What happens when Detroit tries to build a car for women without asking a single woman?
What the fuck is going on here?
This is the story of the 1955 to 1956 Dodge La Femme, the vintage car designed specifically for women, and the marketing gamble that completely backfired. Picture America in the early 1950s. The war was over, the economy was booming. Families who had grown up during the Great Depression were finally ready to spend, and spend they did. Automakers were in full post-war stride, turning out new models, new trims, and new ideas to grab every possible dollar rolling down Main Street. Power steering, power brakes, automatic transmissions, televised ads.
Let's start with the most ingenious door in any refrigerator.
And increasingly, women featured in those ads. Detroit noticed something important. More women were taking an interest in cars. They weren't just passengers anymore. They were buyers, drivers, decision makers. So Chrysler had an idea. In 1954, Mopar unveiled two concept cars based on the New Yorker, the LeComte and the LeComtesse. The LeComtesse, painted pink and aimed at female drivers, received positive reactions. That was all the green light Chrysler needed. But instead of keeping it in-house, they handed the production project over to Dodge. And for the 1955 model year, Dodge proudly unveiled what it called the first car ever exclusively designed for the woman motorist. Its name? La Femme. Now, under the skin, it was essentially a Dodge Custom Royal Lancer two-door hardtop. Mechanically, it wasn't reinventing the wheel, but visually, Dodge went all in. The 1955 La Femme wore a two-tone combination of heather rose and sapphire white. And if you think that pink stopped at the paint, oh no. The interior featured pale pink vinyl upholstery with gold quarter-grain trim and orchid jacquard fabric. Gold La Femme badges adorned the front fenders and even the glove compartment. Subtle? Not exactly. But Dodge didn't stop at colors. They decided what women really wanted in a car was accessories. The 1955 La Femme came with a purse, not just any purse, a color-coordinated handbag that matched the interior. Inside, a compact, lipstick, a cigarette case, and a lighter, because nothing says automotive innovation like matching cosmetics. There was also a special compartment behind the passenger seat that held a raincoat, rain hat, and umbrella, all designed to match the jacquard interior fabric. Every accessory had its own custom storage space inside the car. And the marketing leaned heavily into this. The campaign spotlighted these beauty products more than horsepower or ride quality. Catchphrases like "by special appointment to Her Majesty, the American woman" tried to crown it as rolling royalty. But here's where things get interesting. In 1955, Dodge sold fewer than 1,500 La Femmes. To put that into perspective, Dodge moved almost 90,000 Lancer models that same year. The La Femme was a tiny fraction of that number. Still, Dodge didn't pull the plug immediately. For 1956, they tried again. They dropped the purse and beauty accessories, but kept the rain gear. The color scheme changed from heather rose and white to misty orchid and regal orchid, two shades of lavender. The interior vinyl pattern was revised. And yet, sales dropped even further. In 1956, fewer than 1,000 units were delivered. After just two model years, 1955 and 1956, Dodge discontinued the La Femme before the 1957 model year. Total sales are commonly cited at fewer than 2,500 units across both years, though some reports suggest the real number may have been closer to only 1,500 examples. Either way, it was a marketing disaster. Why did it fail? First, the approach. The car was designed entirely by men who assumed women wanted a pink car loaded with fashion accessories. There wasn't a single woman involved in the design process. Instead of focusing on practical features like handling, comfort, or performance, Dodge leaned into stereotypes. Second, the price. The La Femme package added $143 to an already premium vehicle. That wasn't pocket change in 1955. And third, women, it turns out, were far more pragmatic than Dodge's marketing department assumed. They didn't necessarily want a car that screamed for women. They wanted a good car. Interestingly, Dodge wasn't the only company exploring this space. Around the same time, General Motors established the Damsels of Design division under Harley Ale, bringing female designers into the process. That initiative led to cars like the Chevrolet Impala Martinique and the Cadillac Eldorado Seville Baroness in the late 1950s. Notice something? None of them were painted pink. Fast forward to today, and the La Femme tells us more about 1950s marketing culture than it does about women drivers. It was born in a booming economy during a time when Detroit was experimenting with every possible niche. Women were expanding their public presence beyond the traditional housewife image, and automakers saw dollar signs. But instead of listening, Dodge guessed, and guessing cost them. Yet here's the twist: what was once a flop is now a rarity. Because so few were built and even fewer survived, the 1955 to 1956 Dodge La Femme has become a highly sought-after collector's item. What was once mocked as a marketing misfire is now an automotive conversation piece. It's ironic, isn't it? A car designed to chase trends ended up becoming valuable because it failed. The La Femme wasn't a bad car mechanically. It wasn't unreliable, it wasn't underpowered compared to its siblings. Its downfall wasn't engineering. It was assumption. And that's what makes this story so fascinating. It's not just about pink paint and matching purses. It's about a moment in American history when the auto industry tried to define a new market without truly understanding it. In a way, the La Femme is a time capsule, a rolling reminder of how far automotive marketing has come and how important it is to listen to the people you're designing for. So the next time someone tells you the 1950s were all chrome and glory, remember, sometimes the boldest ideas aren't the smartest ones. And sometimes the rarest classics are the ones that missed the mark. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of Detroit's most unusual experiments, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Think of it as adding the right option package. And subscribe so you don't miss the next automotive story that history almost forgot. Because in the car world, the real drama isn't always under the hood. Sometimes it's in the marketing department.